Hey, good morning. Hello, everyone. It's Hank Philippi Ryan. I'm here on First Chapter Fun. I'm going to be broadcasting live here on Instagram and on Facebook, and I'm just waiting for the Facebook video to come up, and there we are. Hi, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Oh, look, everyone. Girl Loves Dogs is here. Uh, Hannah is here. Hi, you all. This is marvelous. It is now 11:30 a.m. EST, and that means it is time for another edition of First Chapter Fun. As I said, I'm Hank Philippi Ryan, and here on Facebook, up here on Facebook, and down here on Instagram is where Hannah Mary McKinnon and I will read you the first chapter of a great new book. Every Tuesday and every Thursday, we're here together. You can remember that. Days that begin with T. And that's what brings us here. It's so much fun to read you a new chapter every day. Every day. It used to be every day, but now it's every Tuesday and Thursday. You know the story. The fabulous Hannah Mary McKinnon started First Chapter Fun, gosh, back in March. And this is now today is episode 55, which is just as crazy as anything could possibly be. I'm so thrilled to be here as Hannah's co-host. You know the story of it. At one point we were talking and I said, Hannah said that she was going to stop First Chapter Fun, at episode 50 or something. And I said, oh, come on, everyone loves it so much and all the authors appreciate it and all the readers appreciate it. And it's so much fun to hear a first chapter every morning. So we decided that I would come co-host and co-read. That's what I get for wanting her to continue, but I'm so honored to be here with Hannah Mary McKinnon. So every Tuesday and Thursday, days that begin with T, right here at 11:30 in the morning, grab a cup of coffee or tea. You can see I have my Cuyahoga County Public Library mug this morning, and join us for the first chapter of a wonderful new book. Now, if this is your first time, as I said, this is episode 55, so all the other authored first chapters are archived. And hey, Jill, how are you? Nice to see you all. Who's here on Facebook? Oop, well, there we go. I can't see your comments on Facebook, so we'll see you on Instagram. Let me know. Comment on Facebook so I can see that you're here. Anyway, we have so many people joining right now. It's 34 people on Facebook. Write a comment so I can see it. I'm not quite sure why I can't see them. And here on Instagram, wonderful this morning. Love seeing you all. Anyway, Hannah and I both babble when we get excited, and I'm a tiny bit nervous, I have to admit, since this is such an important thing to Hannah and me, being able to showcase authors and their first chapters, especially in this absolutely ridiculous, terrifying, if I could say so, time when we're all trying to balance and get our lives on a little bit of equilibrium. Hi, Jen. Hi, May. Hi, all of you. I wish I could see the comments on Facebook, and I'm not seeing them. But I know you're here. I can see those little numbers going up and up and up and up. So welcome, welcome, welcome. Hi, Linda from Hingham. How are you? So anyway, all of the previous 54 first chapters are archived on Instagram TV, IGTV, and in Facebook First Chapter Fun videos. So you can go back at your leisure and listen to a fabulous first chapter. It's like having a box of book chocolates that you can just sample. Remember those Whitman samplers? Do you remember those? I remember those. And you have to poke them to see what you get. But anyway, on First Chapter Fun, you know what you're getting because you're going to see the wonderful cover of a book. Now, a little bit of a warning if you haven't been around with us before. We're broadcasting on Instagram down here and Facebook up here. And sometimes one of those platforms decides to be cranky and boots us out. And if it does, which it happens from time to time, knock on wood, it won't today, just go get a cup of coffee or a cup of tea and we'll come back and do it again live on the other platform. So you will be able to see the whole chapter and hear the whole chapter and hear the whole scoop about everything. You won't miss anything. But we are sort of in love with technology here and blessed with it, but it's also sort of crazy. Hannah and I have battled Instagram and Facebook and IGTV and YouTube and texting and phones, and we're supposed to be writing, we're supposed to be writing. When do we get to write? But we will. So today, without further ado, we are going to hear the first chapter of the fabulous Hallie Ephron's Careful What You Wish For. Careful What You Wish For by Hallie Ephron. Hallie is a dear friend, and this is a wonderful standalone thriller. Do you declutter? Do you know Marie Kondo? Have you looked at your sock drawer and wondered whether you should just clean that out? And what if you could declutter your entire life? What if you could take care of all the things in your life, like your husband, that you might feel is a little cluttering your life from time to time? Not always, but from time to time. Hi, Sharon. We read your book earlier, and that was absolutely fabulous. Kimmer, how are you, Kimmer? I can't believe I can't see the comments on Facebook, you all. So let me see whether I'm doing this wrong. And I can't see the comments. All right, so somebody tell me what they're saying on Facebook. I know you're here. I see you all here. Anyway, this morning, Hallie Ephron's first chapter of Careful What You Wish For. Now, let me tell you a little bit about Hallie Ephron. I have to admit that she is a dear friend, one of my first friends in the writing world. And so it is such a joy to be able to read this book. Hallie Ephron is a New York Times bestselling author of 11 suspense novels that reviewers call deliciously creepy. Isn't that the best description? Her recent Careful What You Wish For, as I said, is about a professional organizer who's married to a man who can't pass up a yard sale without stopping. In a starred review, very difficult to get, Publishers Weekly called it outstanding. And in a Time magazine article, Jamie Lee Curtis, the famous actor Jamie Lee Curtis, called it thrilling and suspenseful. So now you kind of know what you're getting in for this morning. A 5-time finalist for the Mary Higgins Clark Award, Hallie's nonfiction, Writing and Selling Your Mystery Novel, was an Edgar Award finalist, and that is an extremely big deal. Hi, Novel Gal. And her Never Tell a Lie, one of her first standalones, was made into a Lifetime movie, and that was really fun to watch. We all watched that together and cheered. Now, if her name, Hallie Ephron, sounds familiar, that is the Ephron family of Nora and Delia and Amy Ephron. Hallie is one of the Ephron sisters, and she has a marvelous story about how a magazine, she was a teacher for many years, and she tells a wonderful story about how a writer called her once and said she was doing a story about the Ephron sisters and why Hallie was the only one who didn't write. And Hallie said she decided that at that moment that she was going to write an article, because if somebody was going to write about Hallie not writing, it was going to be Hallie herself. And that's how funny she is. Hannah, thank you. Lots of wonderful comments on Facebook. I will go back and look at every single one. And that reminds me that if you have a question for Hallie, ask on Facebook. The comments will be there, and she will come back and she'll look at the comments and she'll answer all your questions. So let me tell you a little bit about Careful What You Wish For. I also can tell you that Hallie's parents were Hollywood screenwriters. And one of the things Hallie and I first talked about when we met is that I had mentioned that one of my very favorite movies is Desk Set. Have you seen Desk Set? If you haven't, it's amazing and you will love it, I promise. And Hallie says, oh, my parents wrote that movie. And I thought, of all the things in all the universes that we could have discussed, that her parents wrote my favorite movie. So there is the universe. I mean, that is the essence of Small World, isn't it? So a little bit about Careful What You Wish For, which is out right now from the wonderful publisher William Morrow, and we are reading with William Morrow Publishing Company's permission, of course, today. Do you declutter? Let me ask you this. Listen to this. It's no mystery why Marie Kondo offers her millions of followers few precious life-changing tips for decluttering a spouse who doesn't share the same enthusiasm for the magic of tidying up. Husbands cannot be neatly folded and tucked away into a drawer. Or can they? After a video of her organizing her sock drawer goes viral, Emily Harlow uses her moment in the spotlight to launch her career as a professional organizer. The catch: she's married to a man who can't drive past a yard sale without stopping. Like other professionals who make a living decluttering people's lives, Emily has devised a set of ironclad rules. When working with couples, for example, she makes it clear that each person is only allowed to declutter his or her own stuff. Do you do that? Do you declutter somebody else's stuff? Anyway, this stipulation has kept Emily's own marriage together as her basement, attic, and garage have filled up with her husband's finds. He says he's a collector. Emily knows better. He's a hoarder. And the larger his collection becomes, the deeper the distance grows between Emily and the man she married. Luckily, Emily's got 2 new clients to distract herself: an elderly widow whose husband left behind a storage unit that she didn't know existed, and a young wife whose husband won't allow her to bring her stuff into their house. But when Emily's initial meeting with the young wife takes a detour involving too much wine and fantasies of how much more pleasant life would be without their collecting spouses, Emily finds herself in a mess that just might be too big for her to clean up. Careful what you wish for, the old adage says. Now, Emily might lose her freedom, her marriage, and possibly her life. Oh, you can see why they call it deliciously creepy. Can you believe that? I mean, that is such a good idea. Can you declutter your husband? Kimber the Book Nerd says, yes, I love desk set. Yes, I do too. I do too. So let me read you the first chapter of Careful What You Wish For. I'm sorry if my glasses are glary. You know, we'll figure this out. We're all new. Chapter 1, Saturday. Emily Harlow wasn't convinced that her sock drawer sparked joy. Her socks had once been a jumbled mess, stuffed in this top drawer of the mahogany bureau she'd inherited from her grandmother. She tried to follow the decluttering guru's mantra, keeping only those socks that spoke to her heart and arranging them so they stood at attention, paired and folded just so, and sorted by color. Months later, bright and early on this muggy August morning, as she stood in her sunlit bedroom in shorts, a tank top, and flip-flops, the message these socks whispered to her heart was more about privilege than joy. Who on earth needed so many pairs of socks? Still, sock sorting had been life-changing. On a whim, as she'd done it, she took a sequence of snapshots, then assembled the stills into a stop-motion video, a herky-jerky animated progression showing the transformation from chaotic to tidy, and ending with a selfie of her grinning as she deposited a bag of discards in a Goodwill collection bin, dissolved to a final shot of her newly ordered sock drawer. Watching that video did spark joy. She posted it on Instagram. Thousands of viewers and shares later, the Boston Globe ran a human interest story on Emily and her sock sorting video. A local morning TV talk show invited her on. And before she knew it, she had people reaching out and asking her to help them declutter their drawers and closets and film the process. That had been just before the school year ended, at a time when she was susceptible to any excuse not to go back to teaching the next fall. Once upon a time, she loved teaching, loved setting up her classroom in September, sorting her supply closet and stocking it with reams of paper and art supplies, meeting 25 fresh-faced third graders and introducing them to the wonder of fractions, the solar system, and Charlotte's Web. But after 8 years of the East Hartwell school system relentless focus on tests, along with well-meaning parents who valued grammar and spelling over creativity and problem solving, teaching itself no longer spoke to her heart, not in the uncomplicated way that sock sorting did. The outpouring in response to her video and the prospect of a stream of clients willing to pay for help decluttering their living spaces felt like a minor miracle. In short order, Emily had tendered her resignation, barbecued stacks of lesson plans and grade books, and given away a ton of teacher's guides and school supplies. She hoped she'd never have to smell another erasable marker or staple another corrugated cardboard border onto a bulletin board. She'd been pleasantly surprised when her husband Frank encouraged her to go for it. Take the risk, give it a year, and see what happens. Even though they were still paying off loans they'd taken out when Frank and his best friend started their private practice law firm. Compared to the emotional roller coaster that Frank had been on, trying to conceive a child, the ups and downs of launching a new business seemed like a walk in the park. The only thing that made Frank uneasy was her going alone into strangers' homes, so he'd set up location sharing on her phone so he'd know where to start looking if she didn't come home. And he'd bought her a stun gun, baby blue, about the size of a TV remote. She'd fired it once. The sparks and lightning crackle had half scared her to death. She'd dropped the gadget into her gear bag and hoped she'd never have to use it. Emily had partnered with her best friend Becca, a one-time nurse turned social worker turned life coach, who was perfectly equipped to hold clients' hands and nurture them through the peeling away of personal property, as painful for some as peeling off layers of skin. Turned out people could part with that beloved herd of plastic horses they'd collected when they were 8, or the flowing chiffon they'd worn to their senior prom, as if they had its image saved in a digital archive. Emily made the freeze-frame videos capturing vanishing possessions. She and Becca called themselves freeze-frame clutter kickers. Emily's sock sorting had gotten them off to a good start. Now she was creating a closet sorting video to grab the attention of even more potential customers. "Emmy, I'm off," Frank shouted up to her. She'd left him downstairs in the kitchen, poring over yard sale ads he'd printed off Craigslist and Facebook. Every Saturday, with military-like precision, he'd plotted a route, then left the house no later than 7:30 because, according to Frank, no one meant it when they advertised no early birds. Emily left the bedroom and crossed the upstairs hall that was narrowed by floor-to-ceiling bookcases loaded with Frank's books, continued past the door to what was supposed to be the guest room, but which was rapidly turning into Frank's storage closet. When she got to the landing, Frank was at the foot of the stairs, grinning up at her. He went to weekend yard sales looking distinctly unlawyerly in a pair of grungy Levi's and a t-shirt that Emily had had made for him. It featured a New Yorker cartoon of an elderly man lying in a hospital bed and saying to the woman holding his hand, "I should have brought more crap." "Need anything?" Frank said, brushing back a shock of hair from his forehead. "No bedroom sets," she said. Frank licked an index finger and chopped one in the air, then saluted and clicked his heels. Emily returned to the bedroom. No bedroom sets was only half joking on her end. She suspected Frank had several headboards and bed frames, not to mention bureaus and vanity tables, stashed in their garage and basement. Lighter fare, radios, and all manner of small appliances. He'd sneak up into the attic when he thought she wasn't looking. Even when Emily was shut away in her tiny upstairs office with its jar of freshly sharpened pencils and well-ordered files, she could feel Frank's finds revving up like a phalanx of sorcerer's apprentice brooms mustering to invade the main house. As if on cue, the house trembled. Emily recognized the sound of the back door slamming shut. She crossed to the window and looked down into the driveway. Frank's ancient Chevy Suburban lumbered below her as it backed out into the street. "Pick your battles," had been her mother's sage advice on the day she and Frank married, and Emily tried to do just that. Still, the irony of her upstairs sorting and culling, and Frank out in the world hunting and gathering, was not lost on her. She liked to think of theirs as a zero-sum game, though what she was about to get rid of from her closet was undoubtedly a spit in the ocean compared to what he'd soon drag into their house. But there was no point dwelling on it. There were worse hobbies than compulsive yard sailing, and he wasn't about to change. Besides, she had to get busy. She and Becca had an appointment to meet a new client this afternoon, and it would take Emily hours to get this video done. Emily pulled out clothing by the armload from the closet and mounted the pieces on one side of their king-size bed. She looked at the pile through the camera viewfinder. She pressed the camera's remote control and had her opening shot for the animation, the big mess. From now until she had the entire pile of clothing sorted, she'd keep the camera exactly where it was and take care not to bump the lights. Emily snagged the topmost item, a pair of lined cuffed wool trousers, an anachronism in today's world of leggings and jeans. She spread the pants out on the bed, took a picture, click. Smooth them, another click. Keep or toss? Easy decision. Moth holes and a lining that was disintegrating did not spark joy. She made short work of 3 boxy double-breasted blazers, one red, one black, one navy. After that, she whipped through a pile of dresses, dumping them all, including the bridesmaid's gown she'd worn to Becca's wedding. She was stuffing the last dress into a garbage bag when she heard gravel crunch in the driveway. She stepped to the window and raised the shade. Frank had returned. His SUV was parked in the driveway. Below her, the driver's side door opened and Frank got out. From above, she could see the bald spot that he took pains to comb over. He must have bought something because he popped the trunk and was bending down, reaching for the bulkhead door to the basement. The metal door creaked open. Before Frank turned back to his car, he glanced up at her and waved. She waved back and dropped the shade. She really did not want to see what he was bringing in. She picked up a turquoise zippered jumpsuit that she'd bought at a resale shop in Venice Beach. She'd been a different person back then, just out of college and getting her teaching degree. Frank was an idealistic, newly minted attorney. She wondered if Frank remembered the amazing sex they'd had, camped out on a friend's covered porch overlooking the canal. Sex without thinking sex. Sex without checking the calendar and taking your temperature sex. That had been years ago, back when she assumed that having a baby would just happen. Back when she never dreamed how fast Frank would fill their house with more and more stuff. If only he let her work her organizing magic on his clutter, Emily thought, as she eyed the bulging drawers of his bureau. The door to his closet would no longer shut. Frank's lawyer suits, hanging in garment bags, squished at one end of the closet, would have so much more room to breathe if only he'd get rid of... There was no point in finishing the thought, because there was one ironclad rule of decluttering. You're only allowed to declutter your own shit. And it didn't seem like that big a deal when she and Frank were spooned skin to skin in bed on a lazy Sunday morning. She shook out the turquoise jumpsuit and held it under her chin in front of the full-length mirror that hung on the bedroom door. It reminded her of her juicier, less mousy self, one she hoped she hadn't consigned to the rubbish bin on her journey from free spirit to elementary school teacher, to professional organizer. She threw the jumpsuit on the bed. Had it been inevitable that Frank would become a rabid collector, genetic even? When they'd helped clean out Frank's grandfather's 2-bedroom apartment years ago, there had been piles of newspaper clippings going back to the 40s. At their wedding, Frank's mother had confided to Emily that Frank's first word had been mine. Back then, Frank's redeeming features seemed to far outweigh what Emily then thought of as his quirky passion for collecting. He was handsome as hell, and that $1 million smile. He was smart. He laughed at her jokes, and he didn't screw around like his law partner did. She turned her attention back to that turquoise jumpsuit, ran her hands once again over the soft fabric, imagining that the jumpsuit was Frank himself. Gently, she smoothed him, straightened his shoulders, unkinked his legs. Keep or toss? She was considering when she heard a thud, probably the steel bulkhead door to the basement slamming shut. She looked out the window in time to see Frank climbing into his car. No sooner had he pulled out of the driveway than there was a loud, discordant crash from the bowels of the house. Echoes sent a chill down Emily's spine. What on earth had her husband dragged home this time? Ah, you see why they call it deliciously creepy? You see that, right? Is that not so great? Yes, I love it too. Oh, no comments on Facebook. I see you coming and coming and coming with more and more people, but I can't see the comments at all. I will look at them later, I promise, but I can't imagine that you're not applauding with wild joy at how deliciously creepy, as Publishers Weekly said, this story is. And you can see all the possibilities of places this story could go, and many of them you will never guess. So do ask Hallie questions on Facebook and on Instagram. She will come to Facebook to answer them for you, and I'm sure she'll be pleased to see all of them, as I will too. And again, if you missed this or you didn't get here at the beginning, these are all archived on our Facebook videos on First Chapter Fun, and on Instagram, on IGTV, and on our Instagram page, First Chapter Fun on Instagram. As I said, every Tuesday and Thursday we'll be reading another first chapter. Hannah Mary McKinnon and I will be reading another first chapter just like this, and we have so many wonderful authors on the schedule coming up. You will not believe the array of stars that are going to be whose books are going to be read every Tuesday and Thursday right here on Instagram and right here on Facebook on First Chapter Fun. So we thank you, Hallie Ephron, for letting us read from Careful What You Wish For. Please find Hallie's books everywhere. This is out right now on every platform: ebook, audiobook, paperback, hardcover. You will love this book, and we can't wait for Hallie's next book, and maybe she will tell us about that at some point. But thank you, Hallie. That was amazing and brilliant. You are such a good author. Anyway, so next time on First Chapter Fun, we will be reading the fabulous Tara Laskowski's One Night Gone. Now this, you ever go to a beach town in the summer and see what the culture of a beach town is? People come, people go from one place or another and congregate, and at the end of the summer they leave and disappear. Some not of their own volition, because one night they will be gone. And Tara, congratulations, just won the Agatha Award for Best First Novel for One Night Gone, and we are lucky enough to be able to read the first chapter of it to you out loud on Tuesday right here at 11:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Will it be Hannah Mary McKinnon reading it? Will it be me reading it? Come on Tuesday at 11:30 a.m. to hear Tara Laskowski's One Night Gone, and you will not want to miss that. Also watch for our videos that we post on First Chapter Fun, Facebook and Instagram every day before, to introduce you like a little movie trailer to let you know what's coming the next day. Again, thank you today to Hallie Ephron and to William Morrow for letting us read. Oh, now you can see the whole thing. Don't you love these? This is equipment. Let me see if I can get it back. No? All right. Careful What You Wish For by Hallie Ephron. Thank you all for being here today. Danielle Gerard, I see you. Jen Jumba, Sharon, Kimmer. Oh my goodness, look at all these wonderful people. Tracy. This is wonderful. It is so gratifying for us to be able to read to you. So we will see you next week. We will see you right here on First Chapter Fun, right here on Instagram, right here on Facebook. And as always, stay safe, stay kind, stay safe, stay kind. I will learn how to say that. Stay safe, stay kind, and we will see you here the next time. Bye.